What was next? Fucking Jack Saint.
Tommy Robinson got freed on Twitter.
Subscribe to Jack Saint right now. Jack Saint is fucking sick as fuck. Sick as fuck, okay? Jack Saint is a sicko. I hate Jack Saint. I want to fight Jack Saint in a ring with knives.
So he can go and lead all the hooligans, all the soccer guys, to fight the Muslims. Finally, we get to fight the Muslims. No, you idiot. You are being unleashed as the stupid Goyim hordes to suppress the Palestinian protests. And once this is over, they're going to throw you in jail for doing it ever again.
On November 15th, 2025, self-described Christian nationalist influencer Stephen Yaxley Lennon...
Oh, I love him. Jordan Peterson's best friend, dude. I love this kid. Oh my god, the fucking ultimate fail son. I love this guy. The race riot initiator. The representative of the most present minority in all right-wing circles. What am I talking about? Little people. They're a minority.
Called self-described Christian nationalist influencer Nick Fuentes gay. Merry Christmas, everyone. In the spirit of holiday cheer, I'd like to talk about the growing divide between Nazis.
I feel like you and me connecting was the beginning of what people now...
Oh, he left it, though. He left it. We got a sneako Rexit, right-wing exit. We got a Rexit.
...are calling this Christian-Muslim alliance against Zionists.
One of the things I've always maintained about cancel culture around public figures is it doesn't generally matter what someone gets cancelled for if they continue to serve a use to their main audience. This is why you'll constantly see musicians and actors and politicians outed for the most blatantly cancelable actions you could think of, sexual abuse or domestic violence or being a Nazi, and continue to have highly successful, lucrative careers. Some of them are even financially supported by the wealthiest people in all recorded human history. If Kid Rock goes into the woods and writes the lyrics, young ladies, I like them underage seas. Some say that's statutory, but I say it's mandatory. But then continues to make incredible music. Did he even really call himself a pedophile? Does it matter if a leftist calls infamous white nationalist Nick Fuentes a Nazi?
Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up.
You are gay.
Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple. It's literally that simple.
Does it matter if I play this clip where he denies the Holocaust?
The math doesn't seem to add up there.
Or this clip where he explicitly calls for the mass deportation of all non-white Christian Americans?
We're gonna take all these Shapiros, the Weinsteins, the Epsteins, and we're gonna take the Zorans, the Hassans, and the Ilhans. We're gonna get them all together, we're gonna put them on a ship, and we're gonna send them back to the fucking Middle East.
And incidentally, if you didn't know about Nick Fuentes and are curious...
Okay, good points, but you are gay.
How he can feel this way while
I'm just gonna do that now.
having the last name Fuentes.
There you go. If you believe that the Gopnik Twitch channel should just be calling right wingers gay, subscribe or gift a sub. Okay.
Yeah, that's just sort of how he is. He also picked his nose and then ate the snot. Ooh, gross.
But if you look at the angle is coming in from here. The angle is... How can you pick your nose at this angle?
If me or anyone else explicitly opposed to Nick Fuentes'
it is because you are gay.
Politics, try to cancel him for this.
Why do you go gay?
It'd be largely meaningless because neither me nor most of my audience are his target demographic. People who are racists and wish to join a racist movement. And if anything, trying to cancel them like this only reinforces the victim status Nazis like Fuentes use as a perpetual shield against criticism. This goes doubly so for anti-Islam activist Tommy Robinson,
I love Tommy,
the most silenced man in political history.
Despite all their efforts to silence, there's been a conspiracy of silence across our country. They will be silent no more. They want to remove me, to silence me. Now they want to take away the final thing I have.
They're telling me they're telling people I literally work for Israel. Well, I actually do, but
my voice. There were.
I literally work for Israel, but what about the Muslim rape gangs?
Working together with the establishment to silence us. They managed to silence us. Every way they've tried to silence me, and we will not.
They're gonna silencio.
Be silenced. Who needs silencing with their opinion? They're now teaching your children in schools about fascism.
For their main audience, you don't cancel people like Tommy Robinson by calling them racist or Nazis.
Racist! Islamophobe! far right. They don't work anymore.
You do it by calling them the wrong kind of racist. And in this case, you do that by calling him a Zionist.
If there was a war tomorrow, which there will be, because I'll probably start at the end of the session. If there was a war and it kicked off, I would be there on the front line fighting for Israel.
Because the media doesn't want you to know. The establishment's
Tel Aviv Tommy.
trying to hide from you.
They call me Tel Aviv Tommy.
Because the elites are covering up the fact.
Mate, fucking Israel is basically Britain, bruv, but it's not an island. But it's basically an island because it's surrounded by them Muslims.
That there's an alternative to big tech in handling your online privacy. And it is today's sponsor, Proton Mail. Proton Mail provides end-to-end encryption and tools to help protect you from getting your email and other personal information exposed on the dark web. Anything from hackers to government surveillance could be intercepted by calling them the wrong kind of racist.
Jesus.
And in this case, you do that by calling email and other personal information.
Where is the...
Doing why he's wrong. The easier it is to libeling and attacking the families and family homes of journalists who are critical of him. Behaviors he himself has called out.
What the fuck am I doing?
Proton.me/JackSaint. Thank you to Proton Mail for sponsoring this video.
You know what Proton Mail is? If you want to use Proton Mail, you go to the link and you use his link, okay?
And thank you. So I don't imagine Tommy
If you
Robinson
want to use it, you use it through his link, his link, his link, his link, his link.
is really bothered when people call him far right or a Nazi, because realistically, the more people call him that without substantially arguing why he's wrong, the easier it is to position his views as reasonable and mainstream. And I can criticize Stephen Yaxley Lennon substantially. Unlike Stephen, I don't get generous donations from CEOs and conservative think tanks and school shooting deniers, and I haven't defrauded the UK taxpayer for hundreds of thousands of pounds. But I did grow up in a council flat in a similar area, and I could criticize his manufacturing of a working class lad identity stolen wholesale from another member of his football firm, fleecing supporters for campaign funds to spend on resort holidays, while working class communities are ransacked and minority groups targeted based on misinformation he knowingly spread for weeks and continues to do so unapologetically.
All your lives it worked.
Like the time he lied about an underfunded rape crisis centre, suggesting that it rejected white British victims, leading to the effective shutdown of that centre as it was flooded with abusive calls from his supporters. Or when he shared a recording of a black man playing with his white granddaughters, falsely presenting him as an immigrant child molester, leading to this innocent man being subjected to months of threats and harassment. Or the time he made the same false accusation against the husband of a journalist after she reported on Stephen's misuse of funds, hiring a private investigator to find their address, visiting that address, and harassing them to the point of receiving a stalking prevention order, eventually being forced to admit he'd completely made up that the man was a paedophile.
And I'm the bully. I'm the bully. They haven't bullied my family, harassed me, persecuted me, targeted me, all conspired together. It's all there.
Or the times he repeatedly jeopardized actual child grooming trials so he could perform media stunts to boost his online profile. Substantially, I would say Stephen Yaxley Lennon doesn't give a fuck about child sex abuse other than as a catchphrase he can pull out to justify attacks on anyone who threatens his income. Look, I just care about protecting kids from nonces. And also all my critics are nonces, so now you don't have to listen to them. Shame so many of his mates are nonces. These are things you might care about if you're already sympathetic to perspectives like mine over his. If your problem is about free expression, it makes sense you'd care about Stephen stalking, libeling, and attacking the families and family homes of journalists who are critical of him. Behaviours he himself has called out as deplorable when done by someone who isn't him.
The mad thing is, the whole time this goes on, the media and all of them act like we're the bad guys. That we've been, like I'm the one persecuting people.
If you care about things like due process or the right to a fair trial,
We was prosecuted and she...
it should concern you that Lennon flagrantly derails court proceedings in favour of his own brand of justice, which is just saying things on social media whether or not you know they're lies.
You're perpetually both the super powerful that can defeat the evil minority enemy, but you're also perpetually the victim.
And letting your
Classics.
followers do the rest for you. Stephen had deep regrets about that, by the way, despite the fact that he definitely didn't.
It's my favorite new photo. I love this photo so much. It's so good.
Police and the media have all been trying to take me down. If I get caught once
on getting something wrong, it will discredit any future documentaries or work I'm doing.
He said in front of the Israeli flag is fucking incredible.
And if you have friends or family who like Tommy Robinson or think he's unfairly characterized by the media, you might not have time to go through all of these things. And maybe at the end it will turn out they agree with him anyway, and it will just be quite awkward and depressing. So I do have a quick test. Show them this video Stephen shared a few weeks ago.
Assalamu alaikum. You're invited to Edu Academy's open day.
Parents can enjoy a special tour of our classrooms.
You'll get to meet our lovely teachers and see how we learn.
You'll meet students like me.
We will have lots of fun stalls. There will be yummy food.
Bring all your families and friends. We can't wait to welcome you.
Show them that, and then read them the caption he attached to that post. Is this the future you want for your children? If that to you is obviously putrid, to see a video of polite school children talking about a fucking fun fair and presenting that as evidence of a decaying Britain because those children were born with the wrong names or the wrong skin colour, then you are a reasonable person who has been lied to by the Tommy Robinson persona. He convinced you he had reasonable concerns about grooming gangs and the victimization of children, but it turns out he fucking hates those children if they're not white and Christian, because of course he does, because the man's a fucking Nazi.
We are here today to tell you quite loud, quite clear, every single Muslim watching this video on YouTube. On 7/7, you got away with killing and maiming British citizens. You got away with it. We will not tolerate it. And the Islamic community will feel the full force of the English Defence League if we see any of our citizens killed, maimed or hurt on British soil ever again.
Strengthen your church, O Lord, to stand like a disciplined and unwavering army of light. The pulpits once again speak with holy fire.
Well, I just thought it's going to be very different. I know it's a Christian thing, but it's not what we thought. I thought it's going to be carols and things like that, not all this.
This will be a fairly common experience given there's an entire media complex of billionaires constantly whitewashing Stephen's views, to the point where seemingly a lot of his supporters are just kids who get dragged along by their parents to marches they're told, I guess are just generally about being English.
How can you be racist in your own country?
My mum has been telling me about this march and I really wanted to go and support London.
And if you don't find it
she's gonna hate her mum one day.
shocking, and you actually side with his resentment of non-white children living with their families in the UK and occupying English schools, you also shouldn't be shocked about me calling him a Nazi. You fundamentally agree with his racist and white supremacist views. You already see people like me as your opponent, and you already see all the stuff I've said about Lenin as either irrelevant or not really bad to begin with, tactically or otherwise. What you might see as a bad thing is the impression Tommy Robinson likes Jewish people too much.
When you see a man, I've watched Benjamin Netanyahu, I've watched his speeches and I just think, yes.
We still have a lot of problems in our country. We still have a lot of left in our country that want to give our land away, give our identity away. We fight with that stuff. And you're going to be doing an event in Tel Aviv. I'm very happy about that.
Stephen Yaxley.
And nobody was shocked about the parallels between these two movements.
Lenin is an asset to the Israeli government. Over the past few years, his audience has become increasingly hostile to this.
It's inspiring to realise that young men are leaving their families from every corner of this globe. They're travelling here. I come to this country in 2016. Do you know what? You do it a lot better than we do. Obviously now, Israel and the world, well not the world because Britain don't, but America and Israel at least realise you cannot negotiate and the only language they understand is strength. And his words, never fund free Palestine.
Most recently, Tommy was invited to the country by Government Minister Amichai Shikli to give instructive talks on the ways he's exposed Muslims internationally and the pro-Islam media that protects them.
I'm a journalist, an investigative journalist from Great Britain. I come here as a journalist. I'm a journalist from the UK. As a journalist, which I am a journalist, I think now we've established we are journalists. Not only are we journalists, we're far better journalists than the mainstream. Can I just point out to the Channel 4 lady right now? Now this video is just for the benefit of those who don't like to accept the fact that that we are great journalists.
If you're wondering why politicians in Israel would support and collaborate with a guy I just called a Nazi, this is the reminder that the people the Israeli military is currently genociding, the population whose land Netanyahu's government seeks to claim, are mostly Muslims.
I feel embarrassed coming here as a British citizen because I know that my government have just betrayed every single one of you. They've betrayed your country and they've betrayed our people. Because if it was put to a public vote, the British public would never vote to recognise a terrorist Palestinian state. More people will watch our content that we produce than any of the mainstream media. You do not have the monopoly to lie to the public any longer.
Shickley runs the Ministry of Diaspora Affairs for Israel, a department that has even internally been criticised as lacking real substance outside of being a petty political project, existing mainly to blur the definition of anti-Jewish hatred to
We just got a chatter that said, I'm in the UK, and the chatter's name is Pisrael. Yes, many such cases.
Include all criticism of Israel.
That was Kino though. This moment was Kino.
And fueled division between Israel and victims of Israel's imperialism. In other words, the exact opposite thing you'd want from a department apparently based on combating global anti-Semitism. And that's Stephen's role in this, as a strategic one. Beneficial to him because it means not only will he be endlessly funded and protected by the combined forces of capitalism and people like Elon Musk.
What would the landscape of citizen journalism be if Elon Musk hadn't bought Twitter? Where would we be right now?
This wouldn't be happening. Nothing that happened with the United Kingdom. Reform wouldn't be surging. I think, lads, I've been watching you. Thank you very much. I've been watching you. I think you're the future. So anyone watching this, support any independent journalist, any citizen journalist. Get behind them because there's a war coming. It's the media against citizen journalists.
But powerful government institutions as well. And to be clear, these aren't new ties with Stephen Yaxley Lennon. The English Defence League he co-founded over a decade ago was itself modelled on the declared terror organisation, the Jewish Defence League, whose members engaged in bombings, mass shootings and political assassinations to the point where it was labelled a hub for racist thugs and extremism by the Anti-Defamation League. The ADL is not remotely an anti-Jewish or anti-Israel organisation, having donated millions to pro-Israel lobbies and arguably working harder than any major institution to conflate anti-Semitism with criticism of Israel. Given my own views mostly align with anti-genocide campaign groups like Jewish Voice for Peace and Students for Justice in Palestine, which the ADL president has called proxies for Iranian terrorists.
Iran has their military proxies, like Hezbollah, and Iran has their campus proxies, like these groups like SJP and JVP. I mean, look at them. I mean, this is literally like a demonstration in Tehran.
I guess this video is terrorism. To repeat, Stephen's group connections were seen as so extreme that explicitly pro-Israel organizations still wouldn't associate with them. Anders Breivik, the Nazi who murdered 77 people, including more than 30 children, claiming that he was preventing cultural genocide, was an EDL acolyte who directly cited one of Stephen's co-founders as a mentor. And when Stephen left the EDL, he certainly condemned these actions in an effort to clean up his image, despite the fact that within a few years he was repeating the exact same beliefs, spreading the exact same lies.
They have attacked the family, they've attacked Christianity, they've opened the borders, they've flooded our nations. We are the start of a counter-revolution.
And this is where the divide between far-right factions becomes a fundamental one. According to people like Fuentes, the Tommy Robinson character isn't a well-meaning ally with a few different priorities. He's an outright political enemy who falls completely behind state efforts to weaponize accusations of anti-Semitism, which is annoying for people like Fuentes and his audience because they're isolated shut-ins who spend most of their time online ranting about how much they hate Jews. And to anyone else with those leanings, it casts Stephen's use of Tommy in a new light, less as a unifying force for the white Christian population, more like race baiting to sow division between the West and Muslim families, after which the baited can be discarded as problematic when their extreme religious intolerance spills over to the wrong religions. For obvious reasons, free speech campaigner Tommy is completely in favour of pro-Palestine protesters, including disabled pensioners, being jailed en masse for peaceful opposition to Israel.
The far left extremist has left the building.
I've made a few videos in a row now going over the rise in far-right extremism, and I promise I'll chill out and talk about the Netflix remake of The Twits, but a point I've already made is that
fucking love Jack Saint so much.
White nationalism and supremacy is never really about preserving whiteness. Usually it's just the opposite, about deliberating who should or shouldn't be excluded from the definition of
and every category can be used for that. It doesn't have to be race.
Whiteness based on some perceived political advantage. Stephen himself wouldn't have been considered truly white in the past due to his Irish background, and his clear efforts to group Jewish identity into the white British patriot cause have always been his main source of in-group conflict. This, more than anything, is what has gotten Tommy cancelled among his supporters.
The Balfour Declaration, the San Remo Accords, the mandate for a Jewish Palestine, the UK was at the forefront of that. And then they turned on us.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
They turned on us, man. And therefore they have a special place in hell for turning on the Jewish people. You were like doing this great thing. You were helping Israel be reborn.
Stephen Yaxley Lennon has a...
I forget, did you hear about Canada having to remove the names from its Victims of Communism memorial because the majority of them were Nazis? That's absolutely incredible. And right now there is a memorial where it says Victims of Communism Memorial, and then the list is empty. I really don't want them to remove it now. Please do not remove it now, because now it's fucking hilarious. Victims of Communism Memorial, and the memorial is completely empty. Can somebody drop a fucking JPEG in this bitch? Well, I should be able to find it. This, I found it. No rush, I found it. Look. This is the funniest thing ever. Not sure what is funnier conceptually, a Victims of Communism Memorial that just lists a bunch of Nazis or one that lists no one. Either way, this has been the funniest saga ever. Come on, that's the funniest fucking thing I've seen in years. That is so good. That is so good. Yo, if somebody lives here, let's just like, now that it's empty, let's go and put like 1 million flowers there. Let's go put 1 million flowers and candles and everything. If you live there, I call upon you to go and not destroy this monument, because this monument is super based right now. This is a super based monument. This is a super based monument. This is a Maoist, Stalinist, accelerationist monument, okay? I want flowers everywhere. It's been your favorite monument. I can absolutely see, like, I don't know, in Cuba, them like setting this up like exactly like this, like a joke.
A problem in so much as racial supremacy as a philosophy has a problem, and it's a problem Nick Fuentes' side of this
Canadian Ugopnik fan meet up at the monument. That's fucking yes, absolutely.
Divide has.
Just gonna put our drinks on top of the monument and just chill there.
As in different ways.
Everything about Islam is satanic. It's a pedophile religion.
Okay. So you're just hung up. This is just like Jewish.
Whether it's Islam or Judaism or Christianity or anything else being cynically used to generate political pressure, positive or negative. The thing about racial supremacy is it can never stop eating itself. At one time or another, it'll always benefit.
That is why fascism is gay. If you follow through on it, the last two people alive are going to be two dudes. And the only person they will be able to have sex with is the other dude, which is gay.
Fit racial supremacy.
Or the 8 billion victims that, like, lesbian hot sauce. What's up, my friend? They had to use, in order to list out all 8 billion, they needed to use a very small font, like a absurdly small font. So like your communist degenerate eyes cannot see it. It cannot see it.
To form temporary alliances.
I don't know if it's true. Yes, it is 100% true. Fascism, the rational, not the rational, the eventual conclusion of reactionary politics of divide et imperum lead to there just being two guys on an island that eventually have sex because humans are horny.
Or take sides on certain issues, but doing that will always create impurities in the group's basic mission of supremacy. Of course, at this time, it's benefited Tommy and his personal cause and his wallet.
I had 7 properties, so I'm doing well, and my passion is making money.
To use hatred of Muslims to strengthen strengthen ties between the British and Israeli far right. It's why there's a clear pro-Israel lean within the far right, despite the abundance of anti-Semitism. Nick Fuentes has clearly struggled much more to find new support in the pro-Palestine left, who'd seemingly disagree with him on almost all points, including whether they actually support the rights of Palestinians. But that's not to say deepening divisions through unrestricted propaganda and misinformation hasn't grown his platform as well. I hold on to my general conclusion that this is a fucking bleak time for society, but in this case I actually do feel like there's a positive conclusion in this. It's been the go-to cliche for years that the left eats itself while the right remains united around a cause, but I don't think we should neglect the significance of this divide.
Do you know how much grief I got? Do you know how much grief I get for standing...
Supremacist ideology. Yes, but you can just call it fascist ideology. I mean, it is compatible. You can unironically be an anti-Semite in Britain and support Israeli Zionism because, like, you believe that Britain should be left to, I don't know, Anglican white British people, and that Israel should be left to Jews, and that your people deserve to dominate your local territory, and their people deserve to dominate their territory, as long as they don't do the Jew thing and influence us or some shit. You absolutely, those two can be compatible. 100 can be. That you can find a way. Always remember, I can't keep repeating it enough. You can make anything make sense in fascism because it makes no sense. All of it is IRL D&D. You make it up as you go. In-group, out-group is whatever you fucking say in-group and out-group is. You can do it around height. You can do it around skin color. You can do it around gender. You can do it around finger length. It's all just invented. It's fairy dust.
With Israel. Do you know what sort of great grief I got?
Because it's a divide that will always occur by the nature of extreme right ideology. Not because of some external sabotage, but because clearing those impurities requires constant purges. Whether you're the child of Irish immigrants or a guy named Fuentes, you will end up somewhere on a list that started with "first they came for the communists." Men like this will never escape dual loyalty accusations, and in fact, neither will anyone who buys into what they fully advocate for. This is something Tommy supporters who thought his cause was something about British pride or protecting...
Even the original Nazis had to address this particular point. And they addressed this particular point. If I'm an expert on something, I'm an expert on this. They do address it. Hell, the first massive infighting between Nazi ideologues was between a right-wing Nazi sect versus the not-so-right-wing Nazi sect on the perception of what it is to be Nordic. The sect that ended up surviving was ironically more, and this is an insane thing to say about Nazis, was ironically more accommodating to what it is to be Nazi. No, the Strasserite divide is a different thing. It was a much larger divide and so on. The one I'm talking about was a divide on the racial science of it all, right? So one believed that you should exclusively focus on the Nordics that exist in Germany, while another believed that everybody in Germany, to an extent, unless they were from an inferior race, an inferior ethnic category, can still be bred into pure and pure Nordic genome. The left wing of the Nazi party, I'm only saying that as a meme, ended up winning out because of simple practicality. There would be like nobody to fill the army if you only concentrated on those who were by all categories defined as Nordics. But they found the middle ground, and the middle ground was the people receiving land in the expanding eastwards Lebensraum that were going to take, the land of Slavs that would be exterminated in those territories, are only, pure, usually SS, but not only, men with men and women with Nordic racial cards, because they were the ones that continue reproducing there and so on. Also, the state played a very pivotal role in actively pairing every single non-Nordic German with a Nordic person in order to quite literally breed the non-Nordic out of them, etc., etc., etc. So fucking weird learning about this Nordic racist thing, because like I grew up hearing from my granddad about how the Nazis had burned his Norwegian village to the fucking ground and killed every man who wouldn't join the party. Yeah, it's insane. Nordic in this case specifically alludes to their word for an ethnicity that was genetically closest to the ancient Aryans, which no longer exist. This is a thing that most people get wrong. Germans did not believe that they are Aryan. Aryans no longer exist. These were space shuttle people from the past. Nordics, the German Nordics in particular, had the closest genetic and ethnic link to the Aryans because they mated with the inferior races less than anybody else. That is why it was, Germany's destiny to bring up another Aryan empire by ensuring all the dirty parts are either bred out or exterminated. And through that process, a sort of point of great enlightenment would be achieved, in which the objectively genetically superior, closest to the Aryans, Nordic races would prevail. And they always had to find ways to accommodate working with the Mediterranean race, as they would call the Italians, and I can't remember right now another race of the French and the British, with which one could mate, but the idea would be to always, through generations, ensure that it's always with a Nordic person. The long-term plan, probably even for the Italians, was to breed the Italian out of the Italians, to breed the French out of the French. The national category would be removed as well. I mean, they replaced the German flag with the swastika. This was a hyper-racialized idea more than a national idea. But it was all just made up shit. We was Aryans and shit. Oh, there was this crazy impressive species of subspecies of humans that existed back in the day. Oh, well, it just so happens to be that we are the closest to it. Let's call it Nordic. And let's make our whole worldview revolve around this fucking crazy shit. That's it. It's completely invented, and it keeps being that. But that's its greatest weakness, but also its greatest power. You can make it revolve around anything. The Nazis believe in the ancient Anunnaki theory or some super shit. Some unironically have. They never really fully hammered it out. But the one kind of overarching thing that they all agreed on was that there was the OG civilization founded by OG super civilized dudes. But then the OG super civilized dudes, they're like, Warhammer. You know what was the name of the fucking space elves? My brain is slow. Space elves. The Eldar, right? So the Nazi perception, not for all of them. You would have different high-ranking Nazi officers that believed in one or the other, but basically, the Aryans were like Eldar. The Aryans were literally the Eldar. They created something so insanely cool and impressive and a level of civilization that will never be repeated unless we get to build our 1,000-year-old Reich. But because they were, oh, what's up, Freda? I'm coming to the meeting. I'm coming, brother. I'm coming. To the meeting that's not happening. Why would I be meeting with Freda? Oh, this is absurd. I'm just giving a slight insight into Nazi ideology. So yeah, ancient Eldar humans basically, but because they made like a civilization that was so great, they became soft, and they became degenerates, and they just started drinking, getting high, and fucking inferior races that were their slaves up until that point to one extent or another, or sometimes even just animals, depends on who you read, which then spoiled the racial category of the Aryans, and because they were no longer this genetically pure thing, that's what made them weaker, dumber, lazier, etc., etc. They could no longer, they no longer had the capacity to carry this incredible civilizational project because they mixed too much. They either mixed too much or they lived degenerate lives, to degenerate music, believed in degenerate philosophies, all of this. And it just so magically happens that the guys that did that the least, they still did it, but they did it the least. Thank you, Luke, for the sub. Thank you for the 7 months, my friend. The guys that did it the least happened to just be born in Germany because just because we said so. because we said so. And with that being said, my beautiful chatters, I think it is time to close up shop. Today's stream was very lovely. I will see you on Saturday and Sunday, as always. I hit those weekends really hard. I'm your weekend streamer. Thank you to everybody that subscribed. We didn't end up gambling, but I'm still very welcome to any support, large or small, that kicks in every stream. Thank you to everybody that subscribed. Thank you to everybody who paid their taxes, especially the 3 Western taxpayers, and I think the 5 developing world taxpayers. Thank you to the new followers. Welcome to the community. We got quite a few today. Join the Discord. Follow me on all the socials. You got them right here. Thank you to the mods. You guys are the only good cops out there. And I will be seeing you on good old Saturday. Tomorrow I got to drive. Tomorrow is St. Nicholas Day and my grandpa's Saint Day. So I missed my mom's birthday. It's going to be a combination. We're going to celebrate both by going to my grandpa's place. I'm going to send you to Vio. I haven't rated Vio in a second. There you go. Go have a nice chill. No politic stream. Okay. Zero politic here. Zero politic. No politic. Thank you, guys. I love my job. I love you. Remember, put ice in your vodka, hydrate, and use a motherfucking condom. Have a good one. Have a good one. Have a good one. Mwah, 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 mwah.